What's up, metalheads? Welcome back to the Scrap Metal Podcast, the show for the misfits who've been listening to the same music since high school. I'm your host, John von Frankenstein, and joining me today is my metal thrashing mad co-host, Chris. Chris, I gotta ask you, man, how you feeling?
I gotta say, I am feeling utter shock and disbelief.
Utter shock and disbelief? You get it? This is a joke for our viewers. In this audio medium. Does this feeling of utters have anything to... When am I going to stop? Nobody knows. Does it have anything to do with how you're keeping your heavy metal street cred?
You know, it just might have something to do with my heavy metal street cred, because I'm about to say something that I thought I would never say.
Oh boy. I thought we did this on the last episode. I thought we talked about this.
Quick aside, that reminds me of a clip I saw one time of a guy on a podcast being like, oh, I've never been called the N-word. And then some other guy is like, are you ready?
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
But yes, I can't believe what I'm about to say. I'm looking forward to the new Megadeth album.
Oh, boy. All right.
And the only reason why is because it's been confirmed that as a bonus track, there will be a cover of Ride the Lightning. And
oh, shit,
I
really?
am very interested to hear Megadeth's version of Ride the Lightning. You know, we've spent a lot of time picking on Dave Mustaine, and while there's plenty of reasons to pick on him, whether it's his whiny singing voice or him complaining about getting fired from Metallica or whatever, probably because people keep asking him about it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I've also given him a lot of credit that he has gotten a lot of credit. He's written so many of my favorite Metallica songs. You know, all my favorite songs are off of Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning. And he wrote half of them, you know? Yeah. And so while his version of the Four Horsemen, a.k.a. the Mechanics, is not great, I'm interested to hear what he does with Ride the Lightning, because, you know, he had a big part in writing that song. And I'm just, you know, I've also talked about how Ride the Lightning has my favorite Metallica solo, which I didn't realize half of it was stolen from Deep Purple. So, like, I'm very interested to hear it, and I'm interested to hear Dave Mustaine play something that he wrote 40 years ago and see what he does with it now. So, in a shocking scrap metal turn of events, I'm looking forward to a Megadeth song.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Hell just froze over.
Yeah, the end times are upon us. This is truly a sign of the apocalypse that I'm saying I want to listen to a Megadeth song.
I thought you were excited because everybody seems to hate the new single that just dropped. Everybody's like, what the hell is Dave doing? This sounds like shit. This is terrible.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of that.
I would be interested in hearing what it sounds like, because considering what he did with Mechanics, which I hate, just making it that much faster and making the lyrics corny.
But I mean, that was the first Megadeth album where he was at his most angry at Metallica.
Fair.
So that's probably why he was like, fuck you guys. You wrote my song and made it shitty with an alleged fucking Sweet Home Alabama part. Well, I'm going to play it twice as fast and it's going to sound like shit because fuck you guys. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? This is not good. So 40 years ago, he was angry and probably drunk, which is why he was fired anyway. For someone to be fired from a band nicknamed Alcoholica for drinking too much, how much was he fucking drinking back then?
Yeah.
You know? So, yes, 40 years later, he's made up with Metallica. I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't give a shit what the other 10 tracks sound like on this album. I'm not going to listen to them. I'm only going to listen to the bonus track.
Oh, it's kind of like the last 2 Metallica releases. Do you know if he's made up with Dave Ellefson at all? Because Ellefson was with him for forever, right? He was his bass player.
Yes.
For those that don't know, played bass in Megadeth for years, decades.
I feel like they made up right before I saw Megadeth and Slayer touring together. They were both playing albums in their entirety. I forget which Megadeth album it was, but Slayer was doing Seasons in its entirety. And I know right before that tour they had made up, but I think since then they got mad at each other again and Dave Ellefson isn't in the band again. But I know for a while they did make up and were in the band. I seem to remember someone reviewing a show and saying, Dave, happy to be performing in front of an audience again, Ellefson. Like as if that was his nickname. Because I guess him up on stage, he looked like he hadn't played in front of him. Yeah, he was just happy to be there. But I'm not sure, I don't know shit about Megadeth, man. All I know is that Dave wrote some killer songs 40 years ago, and that's it.
Let's see how they shake up now.
Yeah.
But on the topic of Dave Ellefson, bass players are such a foundational part of a band. Be it their sound, be it their image, bass players just hold down that low end. I don't think people realize how important the bass player is to some of your favorite guitar tones. Some of your favorite albums sound the way they sound because of the bass player. Be it someone like Billy Sheehan, who's just noodling all over the place, or someone like Geezer Butler, who just like knows how to lock in and really be part of that rhythm section, that really solid rhythm section. The bass player is so important. And I enjoyed our blind rankings episode so much that I said to Chris, hey, Chris, let's do a bass player blind ranking. Let's go ahead and kick things off so that we can go ahead and get another one of these blind ranking episodes out. Although I mistitled it in my notes and on my file as I'm staring at it as the tier list. And I had to remind myself that we're not, in fact, doing a tier list. Maybe we'll do another one sometime soon.
Yeah, we'll do another one at some point.
Well, leave it down in the comments if you want to see a tier list of bass players. But we're doing a blind ranking. Chris, are you excited to revisit this blind ranking concept?
Absolutely. Like you said, it was so much fun doing that blind ranking. It's such a fun concept. I can see why so many other content creators did it and why we're going to continue to do it as well, because it was so much fun. Yeah. And the suggestion of doing bass players, we're both bass players. I learned how to play the bass in the orchestra in middle school. And since then I have loved playing the bass. So I've always got lots of love for bass players. And it's funny, even though we're only ranking, 5 bass players, I came up with a list of like 20 bass players. And I very quickly was getting to like, okay, I don't know if John even listens to these bands, but I'm just going to keep naming these bass players so this way I have backups, because there's a distinct possibility we give each other the same bass players. So I've got backups, but I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to giving you the list of 5 that I got, and I'm looking forward to what you got for me.
Sick. I also have a list of 20 because as my notes would suggest, and as my naming of this very file would suggest, I thought we were doing a tier list. In my head, I was just like, right, a tier list. I've got to come up with like 80 bass players. So we got something to pick from if we do have some repeats.
Yep.
Did you go first last episode, or the last time we did a blind ranking, or did I go first?
I think I had given you the first album first.
All right. So if you wouldn't mind, if I can do the honors, if you'd be so kind, let me give you the first bass player that you get to blind rank.
All right.
And that would be Robert, just happy to be here, Trujillo.
Oh, man. That's a good one. Because, it's funny. I was thinking about this recently. I don't know. I might have been talking to you about it, but I still think of him as the new guy in Metallica. He is the longest tenured bassist in Metallica.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's been in the band longer than any of the previous two bassists. And that is so funny to me to think about, because to me, he's still the new guy. And I think part of it is that, like, seeing the four of them on stage, he doesn't fit in. He doesn't look like a guy who played bass in a 1980s thrash metal band. He's still up there in his, like, baggy shorts and a tank top, like, stomping around, making the face, but playing, as the guys in Metallica said when he joined the band, playing just as good as Cliff. You know, Cliff played with his fingers, Rob plays with his fingers, you know, Jason played with a pick, which, like, I go back and forth depending on what I'm playing, with my fingers or with my pick. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're trying to fit into a band, I feel like you got to try and not so much steal, but in a way emulate the style of the guy who came before. And you kind of want to play the way that those songs originally were played. And I think, you know, that's something that Rob talked about. I seem to remember him saying that when he was practicing to audition, he had a picture of Cliff up on his wall that he was looking at when he was playing. And then he comes in and he's like, "Hey guys, you want to play Battery?" Yeah. And James and Lars look at each other like, "Are you fucking insane? Yeah. You want to play Battery as your first song with us?"
Yeah, with your fingers.
Yeah, and later James and Lars being like, "We haven't sounded that good since we played with Cliff." And so, oh man, this is a tough one. I'm going to put Rob Trujillo. The thing is, I know he's a very, very good bassist, but I don't know who else you got for me.
Okay.
I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to put him at number 2.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to put him at number 2 because, like I said, he is a phenomenal bass player. And based on the things Metallica says about him, and when I've seen them perform live, I've only ever seen Metallica with him as their bass player. So I've watched video of Jason and Cliff, but I've only ever seen Metallica live with Rob.
Same. The 3 times I've seen them has been with Rob.
And, you know, he gets his chance to shine doing a bass solo, just like Kirk gets to do a guitar solo. So, yeah, I feel good right now putting him at number 2.
All right.
An hour from now, we'll see how I feel. But right now, sure, let's put him at number 2.
I'm excited about it. I know the game this time. Just wait until it's my turn. You'll see I've learned nothing.
So the first bassist I've got for you is someone that I know you've talked about, and you've talked about this band, so I know this is going to be fun. That's Matt Freeman from Rancid.
Oh, there you go. All right. That was going to be one of the ones that I had suggested to you, so I'm glad that I've got a list of other ones to go for. Okay. Yeah, Matt Freeman is a bass player who does what his style of playing, he does a lot of outlining the chords, which I love. You get a lot of that in jazz. You get a lot of that in just like blues music where you're outlining the sound of the chords, and it makes for a really noodly type of style.
Yeah.
While still being able to hold down the foundation. You get this walking bass, but it's still locking in with the rhythm section, and I love that so much. Not just that, but also the sound of his bass, just having like the slightest bit of crunch to it, but still being really fat. I love that so much. And Matt actually has a YouTube channel where he goes through and he'll talk about like his gear. He'll talk about being on tour. He'll do playthroughs and sometimes lessons of Rancid songs. And I just think he's like an all-around really cool guy and a really great bass player. First name bassist again. And okay, man, Matt Freeman. Okay. I want to say I've learned nothing, but last time I put your first choice at number 3, and I think had I been smarter about it, that would have still fared well. So I'm going to put Matt Freeman at number 3 again.
All right.
I'm going to put him in as number 3. I'm going to leave myself some room there to kind of strategize and be careful with where I'm going here. So yeah, that's I'm totally comfortable with that. And I love his playing. I know that, we just talked about Rancid recently, and part of what makes Rancid such a fun band to listen to for me is Matt's bass playing. So yeah. I'm glad he showed up on the list. All right. Similarly, my next choice for you is someone that I know you adore. Dare I say, one of your heroes, perhaps even, and that's Frank Bello of Anthrax. So, what do we got? What do you think? What do
we got? Oh man, yeah, I love Anthrax. Wearing my Anthrax hat. There's Not Man right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Frank Bello. Not the original, but a long-standing member of Anthrax, along with Scott and Charlie, and I think a big part of the foundation of who Anthrax is. You watch Frank Bello perform with Anthrax. Another guy doesn't use a pick and is a big part of the backing vocals. I think that's something that some of the bassists on my very long list are known for their backing vocals as well. Yeah. And I think Frank is a huge part of that. And yeah, it's Anthrax. I talk about them all the time. Charlie, Frankie, and Scott. Oh man. I think I'll put Frank Bello at number 3.
Okay.
Because like I said, I do love Frank Bello. Based on what I see them do in the bands, I feel good putting him behind Rob. I do feel like Rob is maybe a more technically better bass player in a way. Just in maybe like Rob has done a lot of like weird stuff. He was in Suicidal, and he's done some like weird funk stuff, and like
what is it, Infectious Grooves, right?
Yes. Also with Psycho Myco from Suicidal, and like he'll also just go off and play some like Jaco Pastorius stuff, and like like Frank Bello. I don't see him do stuff like that. He does have, I want to say it's the intro to Blood Eagle Wings, where there's something that originally I thought was the guitar. It's Frank on the bass.
Oh, cool.
So,
nice.
And so he does things like that Cliff did in fucking, For Whom the Bell Tolls. That's a lead bass line. So I love anytime a band does something like that with a bass. But yeah, let's put Frank Bello at number 3 right behind Rob. I feel good about that.
All right. Awesome. It's locked in.
All right. So the next bassist I got for you is another punk bassist. That's Jerry Only.
You're fucking reading my mind, bro. Okay. Oh my God. All right. So Jerry Only is a bass player in theory only. I mean, he is one of the founding members of one of the most iconic punk bands ever. Whatever you want to say about the Misfits themselves aside, their impact and the weight that band carries for a lot of musicians is just felt throughout the music world, right?
I mean, the Fiend skull was tattooed on Cliff Burton's shoulder,
Yeah. Exactly. But as far as bass players go,
that's what I loved about this, because I'm like, okay, he's fun to watch sliding around on stage on his knee pads and smashing a bass after every song. Okay, but I've also learned Misfits songs. I read the tab once and learned how to play the song.
Yeah. See, with Jerry, it is all vibe, very little substance, but he plays his role.
Yeah.
He plays his role, whether you want to say it's caveman style, just playing the root notes, because that's more or less what he does.
Yeah. I mean, someone has to play the notes. Doyle is just punching his guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy. Okay, so I mean, I'm what I think you would do in this case. I'll put him at number 1. No. Yeah, I'm going to put him at number 5.
All right.
I'm going to put him at number 5 just because it's to me, it's like he fills the role that he needs to fill within the Misfits, and as basic and as proficient or not proficient as he may be on the instrument, like I can't say he has an impact as far as bass playing goes, but as far as being an influential figure in music,
yes,
I've got to give him his flowers, right? But yeah, he's a number 5 spot for sure.
All right.
For sure. that may come back to bite me again.
Yeah.
I've learned nothing. All right. So my next bass player for you is Fieldy of Korn.
Oh my goodness. You know, because I've spent some time on this podcast talking about how Korn just not for me.
Yeah.
All because of the vocals are. Yeah, it's oof. But you know, the little bit I know about Korn, aside from hating the vocal style, is that Fieldy's a pretty good bassist, and I love his look. You know, with
has
all
almost
the,
like a Rob Trujillo kind of look
the,
to
like
him.
the braids and everything. But you know, musically, it's hard for me to talk a lot about Fieldy, only because I haven't listened to a lot of Korn because the vocals annoy me so much. But I do know that Fieldy is a well-respected bassist and musician. But Korn just ain't for me. So I think I'm just going to have to put him at number 5.
Okay.
I think I feel pretty good about doing that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think, I'm okay with putting Fieldy at number 5. Like I said, Korn is not a band that I've spent a lot of time with. Fieldy as a bassist is not someone I've spent a lot of time with. So sure, I'm glad you, instead of waiting for the last one to be like, here's your number 1, an album you've never listened to, you at least gave me a bassist that I don't listen to early on. So yeah, I'll put him at number 5.
Fieldy, yeah. So Fieldy is kind of like a Jerry Only, where he knew the role that he had to play in Korn, and I think what makes him like an important bass player is his slap style of playing, which is literally just slapping the strings. It's less like slap and pop like Mudvayne style, and more like just slapping the strings to give the drums more of an attack. Yeah. So in that way, he's just locking in with the drums to give more of that low end and that high end clickiness that, without knowing it when I was younger, I thought that was just a super clicky kick drum. But it's the way that Fieldy and Dave Silveria would lock in those parts. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I knew that was going to be a kind of probably a 5 slot for you. Yeah. But I figured I'd throw it in there. Okay. All right. I'm feeling good about that. All
right. So we're kind of keeping it a bit new metal. You just mentioned this band, Ryan Martinie of Mudvayne.
Oh, yeah. I fucking love this guy, dude. Oh, my God. Ryan Martinie is the reason I wanted to play bass. And that is such a 2000s new metal kid sentence. But he is absolutely the reason that I wanted to play bass. His style of playing was so unique. And I've heard it said where it's like, we just let Mudvayne get away with playing Seinfeld bass lines for far too long. But it's true. He's not the original bass player of Mudvayne. No. He actually came in to replace the bass player that they had on The End of All Things to Come, I think it was called. Well, or The Beginning of All Things to End. So I forget.
I did a little bit of research because I didn't know this bass player's name. The bass player, Ryan Martinie has been on every Mudvayne album.
Yes.
He was, but the guy he replaced was the original bassist who might have been on like a demo or something. But since LD50, which came out in 2000, every album since then, which includes like, The End of All Things to Come, I think is the album. It's been Ryan Martinie the whole time.
Yeah.
So, but yes, there was another guy, something Barkley. I forget his name.
Yes.
But, but yeah, so
Charles Barkley.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I mean, if you can't tell where this conversation's going, that's he's going to be a number one spot for me. Number one slot, 100%. I was hoping he'd come up. Just more about his bass playing and his sound. There's a bass part in the song Severed, which he plays with almost a fretless style of phrasing. And I remember hearing this and going to my music teacher. I was taking bass lessons. He'd given me guitar lessons for a few years, and then I was like, I need to learn bass. This is why. And I brought him LD50, and I showed him the beginning of the song Severed. And there's just this bass part, the boo doo 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 doo, boo doo 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 boo boo. And hearing it, I was like, this sounds like a horn. It sounds like a horn. He has this tone, be it the Warwick bass that he was using or just the way that he was playing. There's tons of examples on LD50 of him doing that type of stuff. There is the ba 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 chords that ring out in Death Blooms as they go into like this bridge section where he's hitting like these octave chords, but again they have this sound that almost sounds like brass, like horns being played. The slap part in Under My Skin, oh shoot, what's the other song? Everything that he does on Not Falling. When you watch the studio footage of him playing and he's just tracking it, he's got the bass like way up high. That's why for the first like 8 years of me playing bass, I played it super up high, dude. Super duper up high, because that's how he played. And I was like, yeah, I'm playing fingerstyle. I'm playing up high the way that he does. And, there's this guy on Instagram who does Mudvayne Mondays, Nick V. He is awesome. He's like been cool enough whenever I'm like, dude, this cover was awesome. He's like taking the time to talk to me. We talked about bass and talked about tone and talked about Ryan Martinie. Like the fact that Ryan has this style of like hitting octaves where he's got both fingers attacking the strings from his picking hand and then like playing the octaves on the fretted hand, but he understood that like he plays it way up in the higher register on the neck so that it gives it that slap type sound. Yeah. Things like that like real fans of Ryan Martinie pay attention to, and this guy just gets it. Yeah. Nick is awesome. If you do not follow Nick V on Instagram, he does Mudvayne Mondays and tons of other stuff. He's awesome. He is so good, dude. Check him out for sure. But yeah, Ryan Martinie, number one spot for sure. I will regret nothing else that comes after this point. I'm positive. Chris is going to be like, all right, Jaco Pastorius gets the number 5 spot for sure. All right, Chris. Next up, you've got Alex Webster of Cannibal Corpse.
Oh, man. That's a good one. Because him and Paul Mazurkiewicz, I think, are the only original members left. Yeah. And I know, like, Paul Mazurkiewicz has a big hand in writing the music now. I know.
He's got just one big hand. Yeah. His right hand is fucking huge.
But I know Alex Webster, you're talking about the rhythm section of the band, and that's something we've talked about is the bass and the drums. When they lock in, you can do whatever the fuck you want over the top, because when the rhythm section locks in, you're good. Alex Webster, I think as a bassist, like as bass on Cannibal Corpse songs, it's not typically at the forefront, but you do get a pretty cool bass line break in both Hammer Smashed Face and Fucked with a Knife.
Yeah.
And I always love that because it's like, especially in Hammer Smashed Face, where it's just it feels like a hammer smashing you in the face for that intro where it's like the dun 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 dun, dun with like the choked cymbals and everything.
Yep.
And then it just comes in, everything stops. And you just have the bass like boop, boo-doo-doo, boop, boop, boo-doo-doo, boop, boop, boo-doo-doo, boop. And I love that. And so, I don't know, you mentioned something and I've heard it talked about before how like it's not just a guitar tone, it's also the bass under the tone.
Yeah.
And I know especially on an album like The Bleeding, where, those first 3 Cannibal Corpse albums, I sometimes struggle to listen to the entire album at the same time because they tend to be very much just nonstop blast beats for 30 minutes.
Right.
Whereas The Bleeding, they very much changed it up and there's a lot more groove to it and different tempos. And I got to imagine Alex Webster's bass playing is a part of that. So what do I have left now? Number 4, number 1? Is that what I have?
Yeah.
Once again, I think I'm going to leave that number 1 spot open just to see who ends up there. Okay. And I'll put Alex Webster at number 5. It's, we'll put him there because I think, like I said, when I listen to Cannibal Corpse, I'm not necessarily listening for the bass playing. I'm listening for everything. And obviously the bass playing is a part of that. But I feel like the bass playing isn't like a focal point of what Cannibal Corpse is doing. The way some other bands, the bass might be a little bit more of a focus. So I feel good putting Alex Webster at number 4.
See, for me, when my stupid brain was thinking we were doing a tier list, I was gonna put him in like S tier because again of studio footage. I love watching footage of bands tracking an album, and someone like Alex Webster, much like Ryan Martinie, is just so fun to watch because it's just, you've got to understand that they're playing a down-tuned string, but the way that he maneuvers around the fretboard as he's playing with his fingers, I have to imagine that his playing and any of those videos of them tracking albums was so influential on millions and millions and millions of death metal bass players.
Yeah.
To say like, okay, I don't have to choose a pick. Nothing wrong if you do. I've played with a pick. I've played with fingers. I've done both. Both have their place. It just depends on what you're going for. Yeah. But I'm sure that there were a lot of bass players who were going, okay, he's showing me that I don't need to play with a pick to keep up with these guys.
Yeah.
If I'm proficient enough with my fingers, then I can play and give it a different type of attack. And you've got a little bit more, a different type of control over the string and the way that you're manipulating it when you're playing with your fingers. So yeah, that's just, I was so curious as to where you're going to leave him, because I know, for me, I pay a lot of attention to the bass because it fascinates me how he's able to play in this band.
Yeah.
And still play with his fingers and still play so well. All right. But you got him locked in at the 4 spot.
Yeah,
okay.
I feel okay about that. We'll see who ends up at number 1.
Fair.
But
that's fair. Not a problem. Not a problem. All right. Let's get going. What you got?
All right. What you got? So the next bassist I have for you is Peter Steele.
Okay. All right. What spots do I have left?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. Okay. If we pick the same last guy, I'm gonna fucking shit. Okay, Peter Steele's bass playing, again, he knows the role that he had to fill in the band, and he played kind of like a guitarist. Dude was like 900 feet tall.
Yeah.
So he was just playing power chords on the bass. And he kind of had the bass tuned sort of like the bottom 4 strings or the lowest 4 strings of a 5-string bass.
Yeah.
And like B standard tuning. So you had a really heavy sound. What I love about Peter Steele's playing is less his playing and more the sound. The
I get that. Yeah.
The distorted and chorusy bass, love it. Love it. Give me that fuzzy, distorted bass with some chorus on top of it. Gives it such a unique sound, a sound that you hear a lot in goth music, with the really chorusy bass and not a lot of low end to it. But they somehow managed to track it where you still got to fill in those low end frequencies while still playing stuff very high in the registers.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the lower tunings.
Could be.
For me, I mean, if we were talking frontman, I would have him way higher on the list, but I'm gonna have to put him in at the 4 slot because he as a bass player is more about the sound. He's not quite as low. So the way I'm seeing it is like Jerry Only at 5 is here. Peter Steele is like, Peter Steele at number 4 is up here. So there's a wide gap there.
Yeah.
There's a really,
there's a lot of bass players that would fit between the two.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. A whole ton. But yeah, for me, like I said, if we were talking frontmen, he would be way up higher. If we were talking songwriters, he would be much higher up. But as far as his bass, I feel like his biggest impact is that very unique tone, all achieved with Boss effect pedals, like a Boss chorus ensemble, and I think like a super overdrive or something along those lines. The yellow one, whatever that yellow Boss pedal is. If you use Boss pedals, you know why I can only think of the color and not the name of it. But yeah, it's just such an interesting sound that he has, but yet he lives at number 4.
Yep.
Number 1 in my heart, number 4 in this list. All right. Chris, would you like to know who you've got in the number 1 spot?
Give it to me.
None other than an original Beatle, some would say. Someone whose bass playing shook up the world of music. Someone who only the likes of Gary Oldman could play. And that is Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols. Someone who debatably may not have even played bass at all.
I mean, if Jerry Only is here, I think Sid Vicious is down here. I don't think he even knows what a bass is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
give us your thoughts, Chris.
It's. I don't think I've ever heard the man play a bass because he didn't play on Nevermind the Bollocks. So, like, sure, put him in number 1.
But he's the bass player,
but
right?
He is. I think even more than Jerry Only, he's all vibes. He is the plaid patterns and the bad attitude hair and the safety pins and all of that. And so for giving us that, British punk rock look that I feel like was very much like purposely done by the record company, like
manufactured.
Yeah, he was a manufactured punk look. And yet that's the fucking look of like Matthew Lillard in SLC Punk.
SLC Punk.
Which is fantastic. And so like he gave us the vibes and he gave us the look, whether it was manufactured by someone else or not. He gave us that great punk bassist attitude. And it's almost like I mean, you could almost say that like he was like the Doyle, like he was up there to just have the look and beat up on his instrument and not actually play it.
Yeah. I think we've all heard the stories of like, I played in a band once where we unplugged the bass player and he had no idea we'd done it. Like, but he was just up there giving everybody the vibes. Sometimes that's all it's about, I guess.
It's his career was, what Metallica did to Jason on Justice, was they just turned down the bass and were like, all right, go out there, have fun. Same like the jokes they make about like Murderface in Death Clock, where it's like, oh, we mix his bass out of all the songs. You can't even hear his bass in any songs. So yeah, sure. Sid Vicious, number one. That's, it's based on vibes and aura alone. You can get pretty far on just vibes.
Oh,
you know?
At least to 27.
Yeah.
At least.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? Sid Vicious, number one. I like it. All right. So are you ready to find out who you have ranked at number 2?
Let's do it. Let her rip.
I'm giving to you one of the all-time greats, Lemmy.
All right. Okay. I was going to throw Lemmy into this list for you, but I felt like throwing in Fieldy and Frank Bello like early on would be like too much. I felt like instead of giving like if I had said Lemmy instead of Alex Webster, I feel like you would have just went straight number 1 slot, and then Sid Vicious would have lived at number 4, and I would have been so disappointed. I am happy with Lemmy at number 2. And because he was absolutely the perfect blend of an old rock and roll heart and the vibes and a unique sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like playing through a distorted Marshall head, just having that ferocious pick attack and playing on that Rickenbacker bass, which had so much of that high end anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am okay with that. Because I listen to way more Mudvayne than I listen to Motorhead. You know what I mean? I would have felt like a fake fan if I had wound up with Lemmy at number 1. I would have absolutely felt like a fucking fraud. You know, as a poser, as Matthew Lillard would say.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't know if you saw, they just came out with a punk rock tribute to Motorhead called Killed by Death. And it's a bunch of punk rock bands playing Motorhead songs. A lot of really good songs off of that. It's really good. I know Fear does... Oh, fuck. What song does Fear do? They did a song, but it was really fucking good. And but what was funny was listening to it. Like, it's most of the Motorhead I've listened to is the album Ace of Spades, and not every song off of this is from Ace of Spades. But it was funny how often there were songs that like had an intro that was just the bass, like the song Ace of Spades. Right, and it was interesting to listen to and be like, man, like Lemmy was out there playing the bass as the intro or as a break or whatever it was. And it happens quite often. Yeah. And it was so much fun to listen to these covers and hear songs that I haven't listened to a lot of and be like, yes, everyone says that, like, man, they were like a metal band. They were approaching speed metal, and Lemmy always said, nah, we're just a rock and roll band. And you hear it. You can hear it in the music that even though they're playing much faster, it's just rock and roll. And so that was cool. But yeah, I had to, I didn't want this to only be like the iconic bassist that I was throwing out there, because those were all the bass players that came to mind. But I was like, no, I gotta have one of the iconic bass players. And so I felt like, you know what? Let me throw Lemmy in there for John. So, all right, you got him at number 2.
All right, so our finalized lists, what Chris has given me on the list that I gave to him is Fieldy in the number 5 slot, Alex Webster at number 4, Frank Bello at number 3, Robert Trujillo at number 2, and Sid Vicious. Sid, I'm just happy to be here, Vicious, at number 1.
Oh boy, what a top 5 that is. And likewise for John, we've got Jerry Only at number 5, Peter Steele at number 4, Matt Freeman at number 3, Lemmy at number 2, and Ryan Martinie at number 1.
Happy with that. I'm so stoked that I had an okay time this time. Last time we did this, it was just regret on top of regret.
Oh yeah.
All right, Chris. So now that we know exactly who the bass players are that are on this blind ranking list, how would you reorder your list if you knew them right off the bat?
So if I knew the 5 bassists right away, there's a chance I'd still put Sid at number 1 just for the lulls. That is a distinct possibility, but I think if I was truly ranking them, I would probably just put Sid at the bottom at number 5 and everyone moves up a spot. So you'd have Sid at 5, Fieldy at 4, Alex Webster at 3, Frank Bello at number 2, and Rob Trujillo at number 1. I wish I remembered his full name with like the 40 middle names because I know he does it like either in Some Kind of Monster or in the special
like the audition
features.
tape.
So the special features of Some Kind of Monster where he's like Roberto something or other, Augustine, a few more middle names.
Yeah.
Trujillo, which I feel like Trujillo isn't even the last name. I don't remember, but I wish I remembered all of that. But yeah, he's got like 7 names. Good for him.
So now that would make Rob Trujillo your suggestion for this week, right?
Absolutely, yes. I would suggest his debut, Saint Anger.
Okay, there you go.
No, I would say because I don't think he even played on that album. I think Bob Rock played on that album, which is why the bass playing isn't anything special on that album, because it was all Bob Rock. No, I would suggest an album that I was picked on for liking when it came out. That's Death Magnetic.
It's a great album. That's their last good album.
It's their last good album, and I know there's a lot to be said about the sound quality, and I listened to it recently, and it's not as good as I remember it, but like a song like All Nightmare Long, I fucking love that song.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
if Rob Trujillo's my number 1 pick, I'm going to say my suggestion, an album that features him. That was probably the first Metallica album that featured him because it took them forever. It takes them forever to release albums now. So Saint Anger was in like 03, and then this was in 07, 08, something like that. But yeah, my suggestion would be Metallica and their album Death Magnetic, featuring my number 1 bass player, Robert Trujillo.
Now, had I had the knowledge of exactly who was on my list, I can confidently say that the list would have been exactly the same. I think I lucked out this time. I really did. I was wise to the game, and I think that I ordered my guys in the right way. That would make my number 1 slot still Ryan Martinie. And as opposed to suggesting an album by Mudvayne, I'd actually like to suggest just check out the band Soften the Glare, which is Ryan's like jazz fusion project. Soften the Glare is so good. If you like fusion, jazz fusion, and like just really progressive type of music, you get all of the signature Ryan Martinie-isms in that music while being in a completely different setting, which he is just as comfortable in that setting as he is in Mudvayne, which speaks volumes as to the type of musician that he is, where it's like, yeah, he truly was a like jazz style, funk style bass player who made his way into a metal band, a new metal band. So yeah, check out the band Soften the Glare, starring my number 1 bass player, Ryan Martinie.
It's funny. I know when you were talking about Matt Freeman talking about like filling out the chords, one of the other good songs in Skate is Operation Ivy's Sound System. And like that was like a ska band. So like that's all about like the bass filling it out. So I don't know if you've listened to a lot of Operation Ivy.
I've listened to a little bit of them. A little bit. Yeah.
It's that and the song Unity is really good. But yeah, I feel like of course he's going to fill it out because they were starting out as a ska band.
All right, Chris, I got a new list for you. Let's rate Metallica's 5 best bass players, starting with Cliff Burton at the number 5 spot, Rob Trujillo at number 4, Ron McGovern at number 3.
No, it's Ron. I thought it was Ron McGovney.
Ron McGovney at number 3. There we go. Jason Newsted at number 2. And the number 1 slot, we got to give it to our boy, Bob Rock. Thanks for tuning into the Scrap Metal Podcast. The time has come for us to pack up our gear, but we'll be back to rock out with you in the next episode.
Stay metal, everyone.
Stay low end, everybody.